Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Saabo the Hun here, back with some more Halo Infinite content. And honestly, after the past week of constant bad news and more bad press for Halo Infinite, I honestly figured why not make a video with some positive things about what's been going on with the development of Halo. And just to, shed some hope and shed some light onto the game and some positive feedback in general. Not even feedback, but just positive news, just some positive things. Because we need that. We need that in our lives, and we need that for this game especially, because of what's been going on. And I figured why not just make a video about why you shouldn't be concerned for Halo Infinite. So let's get straight into it. First, I want to talk about the necessary delay of Halo Infinite. This happened after the release of the gameplay demo, but I cannot stress this enough, it is not because of graphics. Let me say that again. It is not because of graphics. I know there's so many people out there that are just trashing the graphics of the game, saying that it looks ugly, yada yada yada, but honestly, I'm going to tell you straight up, the graphics look great in the game. Overall, it looks great, right? But graphics are not the technical issues, and they're not like certain texture details that aren't in the game. We also got to know that the gameplay we saw was from an earlier version of the game, of a game that's not finished, and they've been planning this development delay for quite some time before they even showed the gameplay. All right, and we can tell from the delay that they announced in their messages. And here I'm going to actually bring that up and quote something from what they said. So they said, the decision to shift our release is the result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts affecting us all this year. See, so clearly there's more than just graphical issues. There was obviously the pandemic that's been going on, which is very troubling to a lot of people in this entire country and the entire world, as a matter of fact. And working under that, especially with the whole panic situation that was happening, was definitely very troubling and very difficult to get through. And I can imagine how 343 was handling that at the time. So clearly this has been an ongoing thing for quite some time. When they announced it, it was way before, they were planning it way before the gameplay demo. But I'm pretty sure that the backlash that they got was also another incentive for Microsoft to actually allow them to get this delay that they needed. Now, going back to the graphics, honestly, like as I said, the graphics look great. They do. They look pretty dang good. I'm not even gonna lie. And one of the main issues is mainly the lighting, right? And I found this video from Digital Foundry that goes into really in-depth detail about this, and I really recommend you guys all watch it. I'm gonna link it in the description below. But I'm gonna go into a slight summary about it, basically. So Halo Infinite uses a night and day system, which requires dynamic lighting. And because of this, the game's textures are built slightly different in order to have that dynamic lighting shine upon textures and make them pop out more in the light. However, the problem with this is that once they get into shadowy areas, the textures seem to look more flat or more bland. And we can actually see this in the gameplay demo, where certain weapons actually look a lot better in the light than they do in the dark. And one of the things that can actually fix this is ray tracing. And we all know ray tracing is the new technology that's going to be in the new consoles, and the new graphics card for PCs are also ray tracing included. And basically what ray tracing is, to simply put, this is actually quoted from its actual description, simply put, ray tracing is a technique that makes light in video games behave like it does in real life. It works by simulating actual light rays using an algorithm to trace the path that a beam of light would take in the physical world. With the fact that ray tracing is supposed to be in the game, once they add that, textures will pop out far more than they normally would. And you can see this from games and pictures. I'm actually going to post some up right now. Like here's a picture of Control, the main protagonist's face in non-ray tracing light, and then with ray tracing, and it's actually a pretty big difference. I don't want to get too much more into graphics. I know I've been talking about that this whole time, right? So I'm just saying that graphics look great. That's just an opinion I wanted to say. It was a little bit of a rant. My bad for that. But yeah, as they said in the delay, it's primarily due to the pandemic and some technical issues, right? So obviously there was a lot of development and stress that's been going on, and the pandemic stressed the entire world out. So I can only imagine what it was like for 343 to be developing a big game like this at the time, and especially at an important time when they're finalizing the product. And I also wanted to state a quote from Shigeru Miyamoto, who, as if you're a huge gamer guy like me, you would know, he's a big figure at Nintendo. He actually had this quote: "A delayed game is eventually good, and a bad game is bad forever." And we should take that into mind with Halo Infinite and be happy at the fact that 343 delayed the game in order to make the best possible Halo they can make for us and also for them, you know. And I have high hopes for it, and I'm actually really excited to see what they can do with that. And moving on from there, I wanted to get into armor and enemy designs. And we all know how a lot of people bash the armor designs for Halo 4 and Halo 5, because honestly, I did not like those at all. I thought they were ugly. Or most of them. There were some armor sets that were pretty damn cool, like the Recruit was awesome, the Helios Grill, those were cool. But aside from those, a lot of them were a mess. And we can at least appreciate the fact that the art style they brought back is a lot more classic. And they're actually bringing back Halo Reach style customization. And a little bit more than that. And they actually state this in the Halo Waypoint news when they were bringing up armor coatings, which I don't really want to talk about. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But I made a video on that. You guys should check that out. I'll link that in the description too. They say additionally players should expect more robust per piece armor customization choices akin to what was available in Halo Reach versus what was offered in Halo 5 Guardians. And as we expand our customizable capabilities with armor geometry, materials, colors, and textures, it's important to the team that the players are getting even more opportunities to express themselves within the game itself. More on that later. So obviously they haven't revealed the entire thing of it, but they stated that there's going to be a lot more customization, and they took this idea from Halo Reach specifically and built upon it. So I'm actually really excited to see what you can actually customize. I'm hoping you can customize, you know, certain leg pieces, maybe the boots, maybe different parts of the helmet, maybe different parts of the shoulder, who knows exactly, you know. I hope they add more details specifically to that, but that's a plus, you know, that's a really good news to hear, and I'm actually very excited to see more about the customization in general. And on top of that, let's get into the enemy designs, right? They just released the Monster Energy Snapchat thing for this month. If you get the snap code on the back, you actually get to see a holographic design of what the enemies look like, and a lot more close up than we saw from the gameplay reveal, right? So I'm gonna put those up as well right now, actually, so you guys can get a better look. I had like a little video recording of them, and the brutes look incredible. I think they look awesome. The armor design looks really great. It looks a lot classic. Reminds me of Halo 3 a bit, mixed with a little bit of Halo Reach, and I'm definitely a big fan of that. And the elites, oh man, don't even get me started with the elites. They look awesome. I love it. I hope they have a little bit more armor design, not customization, but more unique styles in the campaign, because we've only seen the red and blue versions of this exact design. But overall, it looks incredible. It definitely reminds me more of like Halo 1 and Halo Reach combined. And I feel like that's the idea they're trying to get from. They're trying to take from Halo 1 and Halo Reach, art style wise. And maybe a little bit of Halo 3 as well. And then also the Jackal. The Jackals look very interesting. They're definitely ugly, but I'm actually kind of a fan of how they look. They look pretty damn good. They look how I would expect a Jackal to honestly look in person or something. Like, it's just, they look ugly. They're weird, but they look really good. I don't know if that makes sense, but to me it kind of does. And then the grunts. The grunts, they look great, honestly. They look awesome. They remind me of Halo 1 when you first saw them, and they had the really sharp pointy backs. You know, they don't look as like all like how they all cylindrical like they did in Halo 4 and 5 and all weird like that. But this one looks actually really good. I definitely like it. It brings me a lot of nostalgia back, which I'm really happy about. So that's a plus too. So there's not, you know, with some of the bad news that's been going on, there's actually been quite a lot of good stuff too, like this. Moving on from that, I wanted to bring up the Chris Lee situation. And I know, we all know, that was a huge freak out news for everybody, and that was a lot of bad press. Overall, it was mainly just bad press, and I'm going to tell you why, because Chris Lee has been sidelined since the showing of the gameplay reveal. And since then, Joseph Staten, who I'm sure if you're a big Halo fan, you know exactly who he is, but if you don't, he is basically responsible for a lot of our favorite characters, the Halo lore, the Halo universe, and he's a key person to thank for all of that. He is now part of the project, and he took over Chris Lee's position around the time when he was sidelined. And it was only now that it was announced that Chris Lee actually left the project. So while he's still part of 343 and Microsoft, he just wasn't working on the project, and they just announced that a little bit late. But 343 was also warning us that there's going to be some changes at the company, position changes. So I was kind of surprised about the amount of backlash that it kind of got and the bad press that it was getting when they kind of already said that, like, oh, this was happening already, you know? And Joseph Staten's taking his position for the project campaign lead. And all that means is, it doesn't mean that he's taking, it doesn't mean that they're completely redoing the campaign. That's not what it means at all. That's not what the whole situation is going. He's just making sure that the people developing the campaign are going in the right direction to bring the game home. Making sure that the game is complete, making sure everything is polished and everything is okay. And Joseph Staten is just making sure that everybody's doing their jobs correctly, making sure things are on time, making sure things are just going well. And that's a good thing to look forward to, because we can very much trust Joseph Staten. He's been part of the Halo in general for quite some time. So now that we got the Chris Lee situation out of the way, I kind of wanted to move on to some interesting information that we received from Clobro. And if you guys don't know who Clobro is, he is a Xbox leaker, I guess you can say. That he has a lot of information on Xbox in general and things that are going on inside of Xbox and Microsoft. So like games coming out, and it's not just Halo related specifically, but he has information on Halo, and he's actually the one that stated this. The game is more or less content complete. They can fully focus on the technical aspects now. I absolutely do expect the Halo Infinite to be released 2021. And I could say that we can very much trust this guy, because he's released a lot of information in the past that was proven accurate, and he has a lot of background information, details that I would highly recommend you follow this guy's Twitter. I'm going to post it down below, especially if you want some more Xbox news in general. It's not just Halo related, but whenever things come out about 343 and information that may release, he is the one to check out and go to and ask questions, because he's very reliable, and I 100% recommend checking him out. Also, this kind of goes back to the whole that they can focus on the technical aspects, and this brings us back to the delay on the Halo development in general, is that the game is more or less complete, right? The game is done for the most part, and what they mean by content complete is the fact that all the important parts of the game, so the campaign, the multiplayer, the forge, custom games, or whatever, things like that, are all in the game, right? So all of that, it's content complete. All that content, it's done. However, what they mean by the technical aspects is just making sure those work, right? It's making sure that these things work, making sure the campaign works with no bugs, glitches, none of that. Same thing with multiplayer, forge, and that takes a lot of time. So the delay makes a lot of sense, and Clobro's tweet actually makes a lot of sense to what they were saying in their delay reveal, is that they're focusing on a lot of technical aspects of the game and making sure everything runs perfectly well, and making sure they can make the best possible game they can possibly make. So this is obviously some good news. It's positive things to think about, right? It's giving us a little bit more hope that they're really trying to give us the best game they could possibly give, and this is why I'm very hopeful for the game, even with the bad news that's going on. And branching from that the game is content complete, we also have John Unishek's post recently. And if you guys don't know who John Unishek is, he is the community manager at 343. So he actually posted this meme, which is really funny. I'll post that up for you guys right now so you can see it. It's like when you get to Eshrom's speech while playing campaign, and it's Master Chief pointing the finger, which I think is really funny. But this is also good news to know that they're actually playtesting the campaign. At least that's what I'm getting from it, is that they're actually, playing the campaign right now, testing it out, seeing how it works. So this is a lot of positive news that the game won't be as late as we possibly think in 2021. It will probably get an early 2021 release, probably spring, maybe summer, somewhere around then. Not too late, which I'm very hopeful for and I'm very excited for. So honestly, this is positive news. This is good news. This is good things to hear, And finally, I just wanted to get into the gameplay. And gameplay looks extremely fun. Wow, this is sort of opinionated, I guess, but you can't deny the fact that the gameplay looks extremely fun. That was one of the most positive parts about the gameplay review, was that the gameplay looks extremely fun. I mean, the gameplay looks smooth, it looks fresh, it's clean. The grapple hook looks so fun to use, especially in the open world S style of the game. The fact that you can grapple hook towards enemies and melee them off of it. The fact that you can grapple hook fusion coils, pick them up and throw them. Like, what? You can't do that in any other Halo game? Like, that sounds so fun. I can't wait to just start throwing it at grunts and mobs of enemies and just watching them just explode. I'm kind of getting a little rant over here, but, just having fun with it. But yeah, the gameplay to me is it's the most important aspect of it. Gameplay comes first. Without that, it doesn't matter how beautiful the game is. It doesn't matter how well the technical issues were dealt with. The game would be bad. The gameplay is the most important part, especially for a Halo game. First-person shooter. The gameplay is where it's at, and everything else is just a plus. So we should be happy with the fact that the game looks extremely fun and that they're really trying to make the best possible game they could possibly make. You know, the best Halo game they can make for us and for them. But anyways, I really hope this video was insightful. I really hope it shed some light on the bad news that's been going on, the bad news and the bad press. You know, I really hope it made you guys a little bit more hopeful with 343's work and development of Halo Infinite. And honestly, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like, please subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter. I'll have that link down below because I would really like to interact with you guys some more. I like to post a lot more news and stuff. So things that I don't make videos about, I will be posting on Twitter. And every video I make will also be posted on there, so you guys can make sure you guys watch every single video I post. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next video. Peace.